have another spooky story for you guys. This one was submitted by someone who went to take her engagement photos next to an old church that had partially burned down, and she really wanted to share her story with us. So let's just jump right into it. I got engaged back in 2021, and like most brides-to-be, I wanted our engagement photos to feel special. In my small town, there's an old church that burned down decades ago. While most of the church was gone, the stone walls and some of the charred wood beams were still standing and now covered in beautiful ivy. Some people tend to avoid the area because they believe that it's cursed. But to me, it looked hauntingly beautiful, so I thought it would make the perfect backdrop. My fiance agreed, so one crisp autumn afternoon, I'm a big fall fan, we met with our photographer, a woman who I'd known since high school. She was excited about the location and loved the way the golden leaves framed the old stone archways. We started with a few simple poses. We tried holding hands, leaning up against the walls, and then we also tried standing under some of the beautiful arches. But after a few minutes, our photographer stopped shooting. She scrolled through the images and called us over. When we got there, she held the camera close to her chest and said, "I have to show you something, and I'm not sure what's going on, but I think my camera might be broken." Then she flipped her camera around to show us and started flipping through the pictures so we could see what she was talking about. Every single photo with the church in the background had our faces blurred out. It was so strange because it looked as if someone had dragged a thumb across our features and smeared our faces. The photographer thought that maybe it was just the lighting, so she moved us over to another angle. But the same thing kept happening. We tried the front of the church, the back of it, each of the two sides, but it didn't matter. As long as the old church was in the backdrop, our faces were blurred. Trying to troubleshoot, she suggested that we step into the grove of the autumn trees behind the property. The moment we switched locations, the photos were perfect. Every smile, every detail of our faces was sharp and clear. Thinking we had resolved the issue, we decided to try the church again. But as soon as we stepped back in front of the church, the blurred faces were back. My fiance and I tried to push through because we really wanted the pictures. But the longer we stood there, the more agitated we became. My fiance kept shifting around uncomfortably, glancing over his shoulder. Then he suddenly stiffened and whipped his head around to look behind us. Before I could respond, a crow let out a harsh caw right above us and swooped down low enough to make us duck instinctively. After that, the photographer suggested that we just go ahead and wrap up. But I insisted on getting at least one clear shot of just the ruins. I don't know what exactly I was hoping to see by taking that picture, but I just thought maybe there was something that would explain why just our faces were blurred. She handed me the camera, and I took a few frames with no one in them. When we checked, the pictures were perfect. Every stone, every beam, every creeping vine came out crisp. The distortion only appeared when we were in the frame. That night, as we sat at home looking through the photos again, I couldn't stop thinking about it. My fiance admitted he hadn't wanted to say anything earlier, but he had felt eyes on us the entire time. Almost like someone, or maybe something, was watching us from inside the ruins. I still don't have an explanation for what happened. The church looked beautiful in those photos that I took without us, but those blurred faces of ours still haunt me. So what do you guys think about this story? Leave your thoughts down in the comments, and don't forget to like and follow for more spooky stories. I have another spooky story for you guys. This one was submitted by someone who worked as an in-home nurse in a house that was haunted by her patient's deceased son. This one is super creepy, so let's just jump right into the story. This story took place a few years ago. I work as an in-home nurse, and I was assigned to an elderly woman who lived alone. I'd spent plenty of nights in quiet houses, but none of them ever felt like Mrs. Alvarez's. She was in her late 80s, frail, but sharp. On my very first night, she warned me about the house, telling me that her son was still there. I knew she lived alone, so I just smiled politely, thinking that maybe she was just confused. But she looked me dead in the eyes and added, quote, "He was an evil man. He ruined lives and died in this house. He refuses to leave, and likes to hurt people. She told me that she couldn't, in good conscience, allow me to continue caring for her without giving me that warning. I didn't believe in the paranormal, so I figured it was just her age talking. But after just a few weeks of caring for her, I started to wonder if what she was saying was true. One night, I was charting her medications in the living room when I heard slow, steady footsteps upstairs. Mrs. Alvarez could barely walk without help, and we were the only ones in the house. I froze, staring at the ceiling as the steps moved down the hallway and stopped directly above me. I hurried into her room to check on her. She was wide awake, staring in the corner. "He's angry tonight. I think maybe you should just go home," she whispered. Over the next few weeks, every shift grew stranger. The radio in the living room would turn on by itself and hiss with static. Randomly, I would smell cigarette smoke drifting through the halls, even though no one in the house was smoking. When I asked her about the smell, Mrs. Alvarez told me that her son used to be a smoker. One time while I was helping her to bed, I felt a sharp tug on my hair, so hard that it snapped my neck backwards. Mrs. Alvarez saw what happened and just muttered, "That's him. He used to grab me like that too." The worst incident happened one night in her bedroom. I had dozed off in the recliner when something ice cold brushed against my hand. I opened my eyes, and in the reflection of the window, I saw a man standing behind me. His face was thin, hollowed by illness, and his shoulders were hunched forward. His eyes weren't just dark. They looked empty, like something had scraped out whatever humanity had been there. When I spun around, no one was there, but Mrs. Alvarez was awake and watching me. "Do you believe me now?" she asked. Another time, as I walked down the hallway to the kitchen, I heard heavy breathing directly behind me. I turned and noticed a thick scent of rot. This was different from the normal scent in the house, and I was never able to find the source of that smell. The night before she passed away, Mrs. Alvarez and I talked for hours as she recounted her life to me. About her son, she said, "He'll never leave this house. I have protected people from him, but when I'm gone, he'll be here alone, and he will be waiting." She passed quietly in her sleep just a few hours later. I never set foot in that house again, but I do still think about it. If her son really was as cruel in life as she said, then I can't even imagine what he's like now, just trapped in that house forever. So what do you guys think about this story?